true. Jonathan shook his head at Brandon. How the hell do you know this? Brandon glanced over his shoulder to give us a shit-eating grin. I banged one of the TAs from the math department 2 nights ago. She was all in a panic when she overslept because she had to go work on the decorations. Shoulda known it had something to do with pussy, Jonathan mused. Holy shit, I suddenly cried. My body tingled like I'd been hit with a taser, and yes, I knew what that felt like from first-hand knowledge, but that's another story for another day. What the hell's the matter with you? Brandon asked. At first, I didn't answer him. I was too busy processing the idea that had just hit me. It was one I probably wouldn't have entertained had I been sober, though that's not to say I haven't done some stupid shit when I wasn't plastered. I waggled my brows at Jonathan and Brandon. Who's up for some streaking? Brandon, who'd had the least to drink out of the 3 of us, stopped his OCD double-checking of the boxes in the back of the pickup truck and whirled around. Did you just say streaking? I clapped my hands together. Hell yeah. His blonde brows crinkled. Through the empty dorms? Nope. I threw an arm around his shoulder. I was thinking more about through the honors dinner to ruin Dr. Cocksucker's big night. While Brandon appeared horrified, Jonathan busted out laughing. Dude, that's epic. Isn't it? While Jonathan nodded, Brandon shook his head. This is a bad, bad idea, like one of the worst you've ever had, and that's saying a hell of a lot. Oh, come on, man, live a little. And what happens when your bare ass gets caught? I whipped a shirt over my head. I won't get caught. Newsflash, Ace, they're gonna see your face along with your ass, Brandon countered. Well, duh, I'm not gonna let them see my face. Unless they've got cameras in the locker room, they'll never be able to identify my ass. Just how are you going to do that? I lumbered over to the cab of the truck and thrust my hand into the box Brandon had taken special care to put up front so nothing would happen to it. After rustling around in the box, I grabbed out his Darth Vader mask, the one Jonathan and I gave him shit for treasuring. Holding it up, I said, I'll be wearing this. Brandon's eyes widened. Dude, you know that's not to play with. Jonathan snorted. You sound like a 5-year-old. I'm serious. It's memorabilia, not a toy. Rolling my eyes, I replied, Jesus, Brand, you're an epic buzzkiller. Brandon held his hands up to signal a timeout. Come on, let's just go back inside, finish the pizza, and sober up. Then if you're still hell-bent on revenge, we can find another way to get back at Dr. Cocksucker, one that doesn't involve you getting in trouble. Something slightly more anonymous. I wasn't sure if he was actually concerned about me getting in trouble, or if his concern was more about anything happening to his precious Darth Vader mask. Nope, it's on. When Brandon opened his mouth to once again protest, I broke into a sprint over to the building. Of course, in my state, I ran like a kid coloring outside the lines. After cracking open the main door, I stuck my head inside and peered around to see if the coast was clear. The lobby was a ghost town, except for 2 stiff-looking women at the check-in table. Everyone was already inside the ballroom. It was now or never. It took me twice as long as usual to get my shorts off my hips. Usually I can get those off in record speed, especially if I'm about to unleash the beast for some sex action. But being plastered, I ended up staggering around to catch my balance. Once I had righted myself, I slid on the Darth Vader mask. It took me a few seconds to get my bearings with the mask on. Once I could breathe and see, I threw open the door. One of the women at the table shrieked and clutched her chest, while the other one rose out of her chair. What do you think you're doing? Dr. Higgins sucks mega cock, I shouted at the top of my lungs as I barreled past them. Get back here, the woman hissed. I opened the ballroom door and charged inside. Through the mask, I could see about 20 round tables set up with white linen tablecloths, fine china, and crystal. On the stage, a few musicians screeched bows across the strings of violins and a cello. Ugh, it was a total pile of pretentious shit, which I knew all too well from my father's world of political fundraising dinners. The pairing of a woman's scream and a man shouting, "What the hell?" alerted everyone to my presence. I threw a hand in the air and